Imagine this. You awaken to a blinding flash, the world reduced to fire and ash, your ears ringing with a roar that shakes your very bones. You stumble through streets littered with shattered glass, crumpled bodies and buildings turned to skeletons. Smoke chokes the air, your clothes are torn, your skin seared by an invisible hammer of heat. Yet you live. 3 days later, as you struggle to return home, you find yourself once more at ground zero of yet another horror, and live again. This is the story of Tsutomu Yamaguchi, a 29-year-old naval engineer on business in Hiroshima on August the 6th, 1945. That morning he'd stepped out for tea at 8:15 a.m, moments before Little Boy detonated 600 meters above the city centre. A single flash carved his shadow into a wall. The blast hurled him to the ground and ignited the air around him. Paper-thin shrapnel lodged into his skin, and glass slashed open his back. Somehow he dragged himself to a makeshift shelter, then later limped onto a train bound for his hometown of Nagasaki, determined to reunite with his wife and young daughter. On August 9th, 1945, the city he called home was vaporized by Fat Man. A plutonium bomb detonated just above the valley. Yamaguchi was officially on duty that day and had reported his survival story to his supervisors, briefly underestimating the looming catastrophe. When the second flash struck, he shielded his family in the dingy office where he worked. The shockwave buckled the building's steel frame. His silhouette once more was scorched into the concrete floor. Again, searing heat wrapped around him like molten metal. Yet again, he staggered away and lived. In mere seconds, 2 cities, each a bustling tapestry of life, were undone by man's most terrible invention. Yamaguchi's skin blistered into grotesque patterns. His eyes stung with radiation burns. He bore the physical scars, the jagged lines across his torso, the weakened heart pumping tainted blood, the tissues poisoned by radiation. He suffered chronic torment, nausea and fever, the phantom itch beneath his burned flesh, the knowledge that the invisible enemy within his bones might one day claim his life. Beyond the physical, the darkness invaded his mind. Nightmares of collapsing buildings and human carnage haunted his sleep. He saw the hollowed faces of children, the blossoms of shadows on walls where people had simply been. The ghosts of Hiroshima followed him to Nagasaki. The echoes of Nagasaki clung to him like ghosts. He became a living testament to the unspeakable, how swiftly civilization can crumble, how deeply hope can be scorched. Yet Yamaguchi refused to remain silent. In the decades that followed, he emerged as a powerful advocate for nuclear disarmament. Each year on anniversaries of the bombings, he would appear before the United Nations and survivors' gatherings, recounting his ordeal with unwavering clarity. He carried within him the dual burden of memory, the responsibility to warn future generations and the guilt of surviving when so many others did not. His frail frame bore the weight of his mission to keep the horror alive in the global conscience. On January 4th, 2010, Yamaguchi succumbed to stomach cancer, a disease believed linked to his radiation exposure. He was 93, but his story endures, a dark parable of human resilience and folly. In his life and death, he reminds us that the line between progress and oblivion can be as thin as a shadow on a wall. Yamaguchi's tale is more than a historical anomaly. It is a chilling reminder of our capacity for self-destruction and the fragility of life. He walked through not one, but 2 infernos, carrying both the physical ashes of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and the moral ashes of human ambition unchecked. His survival was an aberration, an act of fate that compelled him to carry the world's collective memory of horror. In remembering him, we confront the darkest corners of our history and find within that darkness a flicker of hope, the hope that armed with memory, we will choose another path. You like this story? Like and subscribe for more crazy history.